Welcome on in to Sports Memo Today. The Tuesday edition means we got a $2 Tuesday special for you here at sportsmemo.com and your Triple Play Tuesday. 3 handicappers, all their best bets, just $5. We'll be talking to one of them to end the show here. That's Dr. Chuck, who we'll be talking to in just a little bit. We also got Eric Pauly batting leadoff here. Little pair of NFL futures. We'll be talking with our guy EP. But first, I want to let you know about that special going on at sportsmemo.com right this moment. That Triple Play Tuesday. You're going to get Mark Lawrence. He's got a CFB play. You're going to get Dr. Chuck a 5% football play. And we also have a 5% CFB week 1 play from Jeff Michaels. That's JM Sports. You can get that right on the homepage, sportsmemo.com, or you can go to either of those handicappers pages and grab that deal right this moment. Without any further ado, let's welcome in our first guest. It's his Sports Memo Today debut. My guy who I was hanging out with in the Westgate. We were cashing crazy tickets left and right, thanks to mainly his picks. No thanks to me over here. Eric, how you doing, my man? Great to finally be on a show with you, brother.
Hey, how you doing, Dan? Happy Tuesday. It's an absolute pleasure. We had an absolute blast at the Westgate. It was the final day after the meet and greet kind of was over with. Dan and I were sitting in the sports book for hours and hours and hours, and we were cashing ticket after ticket after ticket. So it was time and money well spent. It was a great time.
Yeah, it still couldn't dig me out of the hole I started the weekend, but at least it was a little bit of a swan song to end the trip on. Eric, since you're relatively new here at Sports Memo, I know you're not relatively new to the handicapping game, and of course, being a sports fan, a sports player yourself. From our time at that meet and greet, found out that you're a big time hoop player. You also played some baseball, so I'm wondering, as a player of basketball and baseball, like, are those your favorite sports to handicap? Is that where you feel like you have your best edge, or is it really once football season rolls around that you feel like you catch your stride?
Yeah, so it's very interesting. So for a while, back when I kind of first started handicapping, before I was even really on Twitter or active, basketball was the NBA was my number one sport to handicap because I felt that through my experiences as a player, I wasn't just, like a high school star or whatever. I actually was coached by 2 Division I coaches coming up as a little kid. So I kind of understood the game at a little bit deeper of a level and things like having a sense of urgency and times when teams would maybe take a little bit of the foot off the pedal. So I started off being big in the NBA, but I actually kind of can't stand watching the league. So I shifted my focus toward the NFL and the MLB, but the NFL is by far my number one sport to handicap. I was not on Sports Memo last year, but for documented picks, every pick I posted on Twitter last season, sticking to a 3 and 5 unit system, I went up 69 units last season and hit over 60% of my NFL bets last year. Baseball became part of my handicapping repertoire kind of as you need something else in the down season. I mean, you can't just be, even though the football work begins realistically in March when that new league year begins and we're preparing for the draft, but there obviously is a big time void there. Baseball being that real passion of mine kind of filled that void. But the NFL is where again, like I mentioned, I know a lot of cappers start their analysis before the beginning of training camp. But once that new league year starts in March and we're getting ready for the NFL draft, I'm already at draft props, looking at potential look-ahead lines, looking at waiting for that schedule to drop. So I am all over the National Football League as always, and we're right there. It's so close, we can almost taste it.
Well, and we'll get into your play here, but correct me if I'm wrong. In that NFL prep, one of the things that you did that people can get over at your page is you broke down every team and how you expect them to perform via their win total, correct?
100% correct. So I spent a couple of weeks in the end of July, beginning of August, preparing my 2022 NFL season win total report. Now, this PDF is not a exact science of, oh, Eric has a projected number under the consensus, we should go under or over, or vice versa. All this really is a thesis on whether or not I believe the market is overvaluing, undervaluing, or efficiently valuing the team. In a market like NFL win totals, you're not going to find major edges all of the time, considering how tight of a market it is and how efficiently priced out it is. But there are definitely opportunities where if your numbers are, again, showing that the book is overvaluing, undervaluing a team, to find a little bit of efficiency. I would not tie up too much capital because you have a long season to bet and you're only betting, again, lines that are probably plus 105 to minus 130. So you're not looking for that big payday. But yes, I wrote that thesis breaking down whether or not I believe teams are efficiently valued, undervalued, or overvalued by the betting market, and it is for free to download on my Sports Memo page, smbuzz.com, sm.buzz/EP.
So, EP, let's get into one of those plays you can break down a little bit more here for the viewers of Sports Memo Today. This Bears team, man, I'll be honest, I was one of the detractors. I didn't really get the Justin Fields hype of him even coming out of college at OSU. And now they don't have any Matt Nagy to just say, well, it's Nagy's fault. He's the grumpy old dude who's given us horrible plays, and we're not vibing with him at all. So I'm wondering, this Bears team, after the Nagy era, how do you see it? More of the same, or you see an uptick for them? How are you breaking down their win total this year?
Yeah, so I really do like the Ryan Pierce, I think I messed up his name, but the Ryan Poles, GM signing for the Chicago Bears. I think he can definitely provide some help in the front office, where a lot of the problems for the Bears stem from. Obviously, Matt Nagy had a horrible tenure as the head coach of the Chicago Bears, but just like in business and just like in all professional sports in the NFL, it's a top-down approach. The culture of a winning football team starts at the top. The Hallis family, the owners, has shown that they have not been willing to put forth that winning kind of culture, and it trickled down. So I think while Matt Nagy was the easy scapegoat, some of the issues they had in the front office were really the bigger problem. So I like what they did there. But the front office in the first year of this new regime, hiring Matt Eberflus as to be the new head coach, the ex-Indianapolis Colts DC, what I did not like is how, given that they have this young quarterback in Justin Fields with a lot of upside, I am bullish on Justin Fields. I think he's a very good talent. But they are taking the long-term approach, and the NFL is the league where you can have the quickest turnaround time for being a bottom team in your division to end up winning your division. But they're taking the 2022-2023 season off, more or less. Looking at what they did on offense, I mean, they lost their backup quarterbacks in Nick Foles and Andy Dalton. They lost their number one wide receiver in Allen Robinson. They lost two tackles and two guards. None of these players are great players, but it speaks to like their inability to not only even try to make their team better, but they literally ignored the offensive side of the ball. They made a draft pick, trade Velus Jones, trade for McNeil Harry, signed a couple of offensive linemen off the street. We're looking at a team that finished second to last in passing yards per game last year, 32nd in adjusted sack rate last year, 32nd in red zone percentage, 30 third down percentage, 30th in red zone percentage. And you're looking at a team that actually got worse from those numbers offensively. Kicking it to the other side of the ball, I mean, they lost a couple of other key players in Akeem Hicks, Eddie Goldman. Of course, they traded Khalil Mack. They made a couple of good signings, and I do really like their safety rookie, Jaquan Brisker. But again, you're looking at a team that did not do anything to get better, and it's hard to envision them having a good season when, one, they were already talent deficient. Now they're even more so talent deficient. And two, their schedule, while not being one of the more difficult, is also not a cakewalk. So the Bears season total was at 6.5, juice to the under, and I certainly like that bet of the Bears going under 6.5 wins this season.
So looking at the under for the Bears, and you bullish on Justin Fields, me bearish. I sense some chirps going back and forth on Twitter all season long. So I'm looking forward to that. One of the guys who I am high on, and there's a lot of people who are excited about seeing Sauce Gardner in the NFL. You also wanted to get into a potential future long shot for him. It's also gotten a lot of love in the marketplace. How do you see the rookie year with the Jets working out for Sauce Gardner, Eric?
So the thing about Sauce Gardner is there's no other way to put it. He was the best defensive player in the draft last year. I know Aiden Hutchinson, of course, plays an arguably more premium position at defensive end, and he was in that Heisman conversation. Well, he shouldn't have been, because Will Anderson of Alabama, who's still there, had a much better season and is a better player. But of course, we can get to that whenever. But Sauce Gardner was the best defensive player available in the 2022 NFL draft. A cornerback has not won the Defensive Rookie of the Year award since Marshawn Lattimore took that award in 2017, which he actually won in only playing 13 of the 16 games that season. But he had 5 interceptions, which, of course, is a pretty solid number. He also had a fumble recovery. He had 52 combined sacks to lead him to that award. But the thing about Sauce Gardner is you're not going to be looking at his Pro Football Reference page and be like, wow, this guy is amazing, because you're not going to see many stats of passing yards against him and people trying to target him, because he's that good that people are not going to even look to throw his direction. He did not allow a single touchdown reception in college. In the preseason, he did not even have a target be thrown his way. So that's a lot to ask for a young cornerback. Of course, the rest of the Jets cornerback group is devoid of talent whatsoever, but he can certainly be that kind of guy to completely lock down either your number one receiver or that side of the field. So looking at just NFL futures, my history with NFL futures. So in 2020, I hit a full 1 unit bet on the Washington football team to win the NFC East that year. That was at plus 1,000. Last year, I had a full 1 unit bet on Jonathan Taylor at plus 900 to lead the NFL in rushing yards, which of course he cashed with flying colors. And this season, my full 1 unit bet at plus 1,400 odds, I got it at the Westgate when we were there for the meet and greet, is Sauce Gardner, Defensive Rookie of the Year. Again, you're not going to see, he's not going to have these crazy numbers in terms of pass breakups and maybe won't be stacking up a ton of tackles, but it's not going to be because he's a bad player. It's going to be because the opposing cornerback is going to look to pick on every other defensive back in the Jets secondary and not even try to throw it on Sauce. Hard for a cornerback again, only once since 2017 being Lattimore, but again, not to mince words, Sauce Gardner was the best defensive player in the draft this past year.
So potential defensive rookie of the year, and he's already won like the all-name team. I mean, Sauce Gardner, unreal name, top 10, top 5, potential top 3 potential. So I'm wondering for you, EP, what do you have up for clients? I know you mentioned that you can get that free totals report, and that's still available now, and you can get in and have that leading up to the NFL season, help you kind of formulate how you're looking at teams. But what do you have posted this evening for clients and as we head on into the football season?
Yeah, so for this evening, I'm coming off a 1-1 day where I unfortunately lost my first MLB 5% play of the year. Still 13-1 on the season on 5%er, so I'm not too upset about that. Of course, I hate to take a loss, but 13-1 is still pretty good if you ask me, or most bettors. I hit a 2% or 2 to kind of take some of that, at plus money, by the way, also, to kind of take some of that loss away, which was nice. Tonight, I have a 3-pack of MLB plays available, so you can go over to sm.buzz/EP and check that out. But also for the NFL, I have my 5 favorite season win totals packaged based off of my guide, based on where I saw the biggest gaps of my projected win total based on the consensus win total. And again, like I mentioned earlier, you're not going to see giant discrepancies of like 2-3 games in this because it is a very efficiently priced market, but there is certainly value to be had in this market. All those bets are 4-unit plays. So if you tie that up, you'll still have a ton of bankroll for the season because, of course, we got college starting this week. NFL starts a week from Thursday. So, yes, I have a 3-pack of MLB tonight and a 5-pack of my best over-under season win total bets for the NFL. So get that before it's too late and the season starts.
Absolutely. Head on over sm.buzz/EP today. Eric, huge thanks to you, brother. We'll be talking to you soon. And I'll be talking to you on the Twitter timeline after that first 2-interception game by Justin Fields, which is inevitable. But thanks for coming on, man. Great talking with you.
I appreciate you, Dan. Have a great rest of the show.
Appreciate you, EP. And from one guest, we roll to another. We got Dr. Chuck coming on in here, and Dr. Chuck is a part of that Triple Play Tuesday package that is available now. You can get Chuck's 5% gridiron play alongside JM Sports with a 5% college football play and Mark Lawrence with a CFB play for Thursday. You can grab that all for $5. 3 best bets for just $5. It's the best value in the biz right now. So Dr. Chuck, how are we doing, man? Great to see you. And it was fun meeting you out in person, brother. What's going on?
Oh yeah, it was absolutely a great time. And I'm sorry that even EP couldn't get you back on top. That's because you were following too many of Ranieri's bets to start off the weekend, I'm sure. So, right. Is that why? But here's Justin Fields, right? Yeah. No, but I am unfortunately bearish on Justin Fields as well. But yeah, it was great to hang out with you and commiserate about Embiid and share some winners as well. And looking forward to football coming up here. Yeah, I've been focusing on a lot of different things this summer, but football is king, and so we have to do our best. And Pauly brought it up. It's a very efficiently priced market, probably the hardest to beat, but that's what we're paid to do. So.
Absolutely, man. And it's funny because you bring up the Embiid commiseration, because that's where I wanted to lead with you before we get into your free plays. We got a college football play, and you're also going to try to talk me into playing an NFL parlay in week 1. So I'm looking forward to seeing you try and get me in on that one. But you mentioned it there, big time Embiid fan. You're a big time Sixers fan, and I'm sorry. I share the exact same pain that you have year in and year out. So I want you to be honest here. We're going to do a little would you rather. One question for you, Chuck. Would you rather have Embiid, who you may love just as much as your lovely wife, or would you rather have him win the MVP, or would you rather go on a 76-0 run for you and your clients? Like, don't lie to me, because I know both of these are close to your heart. Which would you rather have happen? The smokingest run you've ever had, or the man who you may love more than your own wife winning the MVP? Floor is yours, man. It's a tough question.
That at the outset of that, it sounded tough. But then I realized that if we do go on a 76-0 run, I can buy Joel Embiid an MVP, and maybe he can win us a ring, and that would be better, since it's been both of our whole lifetimes since that's happened. But yeah, I'm gonna go with the streak, which is people pleasing here, but it was pretty easy actually. Like, Embiid doesn't have to have that MVP. We get a ring, right?
I guess that's fair. I was really just trying to have you end up sleeping on the couch, is really what I was trying to get there. Well done. You played it straight down the middle. The clients are happy with the answer.
I promise you, with the amount of time I spend researching all this stuff, I spend plenty of time on the couch. So
that's fair. Well, hey, man, if you don't get me some winners, I'm going to make sure that you get sent to that couch, because we're going to start off here with a little college football action. And this one goes this weekend. It's a Saturday game and a top 25 matchup here in college football week 1, as Cincinnati is on the road visiting Arkansas. I think you're looking towards the total in this one. So, again, floor is yours, Chuck.
So we did finish last season #1 on the top of college football. And I've been messing with Joe and Dion and everybody all summer, because they all remind me how often they're coming for me. Well, it's going to be tough. We went 2-0 in week 0, and I was messing with them. It's going to be tough if we don't put out any non-winners to, take over the top. A lot of times with college football, I get into, with baseball, with a lot of my plays, I get into, Ben Affleck in the accountant mode, where it's really just plugging things into a system and spitting them out. This is a total, right off the bat, no matter the teams, this is a total that sticks out. For boring number crunching people like the way I spend my time gambling on sports, 52 and 51 are 2 of the top 5 final scores, period, in college football ever. And they even move up in the ranks if you just use the last 5 numbers. Nothing can compare to 55 and 45. But 51 and 52 are right there. If you see those numbers, you need to figure out what we're looking at. Well, this is Luke Fickell, defensive mind coming from the Buckeyes, lost Desmond Ridder. The cupboard's not bare, of course, for Cincinnati, coming off of an epic season, making the college football playoff, breaking the seal for teams not in the Power 5 to do so. But the numbers just don't add up for this to be an over period, no matter who they're playing in the non-conference in week 1. But they get Arkansas. Arkansas lost some of their major players as well, but Pittman has this team just overachieving constantly, constantly picked in his tenure to finish. I think he was predicted to finish last. And, last season they went 9-4. If you get this number at 52 or 52.5, whatever you're getting it at right now, it's an unbelievable discount. I made it to be 47. I think we could be a whole touchdown under this number. Some of the other numbers that just come up, team agnostic, not using Arkansas, period, not using Luke Fickell or Cincinnati, period. It's 35 games that fit this week 1 mold, 24 unders, 11 overs. Now on this 52, 52.5, you get a couple of pushes in there if you are on the 52. But it's going to keep dropping, unfortunately. It's fluctuated a little bit. It hasn't moved as many as some of these college football lines. Some of these lines are moving by a touchdown on totals and on spreads. But this is just a tailor-made under, a grinded-out defensive struggle type game. that I have as like a 24-23 ceiling. And I can't fathom wanting to be on an over 52.5 or 52 with these two defenses taking the field in week 1.
Almost 6 points, a full touchdown difference between Chuck's numbers and what the total you can get it at, around that 52.5. He's saying grab it now if you like the under in Cincinnati and Arkansas going this Saturday. So, Chuck, you mentioned this at the top. You said the NFL is one of the most efficient markets. The lines are, ironclad. They get hammered into shape by Sunday. So why not try and beat one of the most effective markets in the world and all of sports betting than going with a 2-team parlay? Why the heck not? So, Chuck, I'll hand the mic to you, man. Talk me into why you want me to play a 2-team money line parlay in week 1. Make the case, man.
So our first guest brought up several of the points because of his unbelievable thesis that not only, we all kind of spend the summer capping different sports, but spending our time getting ready for football. Like I was discussing with Rob Vino in Vegas, like he's been working on this since July hit. And when you're doing that, you have to parse out where the teams are going to be. Well, Eric Pauly came up with a pretty damn good 32. And who are number 31 and 32 on wins totals in his list? Well, he picked one today on the show, the Bears, and right below them with even less wins is the Falcons. Well, he got me thinking because I had that pretty similarly priced. Maybe the Texans could be in there, but I had that pretty similarly priced as he did. So that brought me to an interesting situation where both those teams happen to be at home in week 1, but they face the 49ers, who I think are underrated with Trey Lance and Kyle Shanahan, making news for other things as who is Garoppolo going to go to, and now they re-signed him to be their backup. And the Falcons, who make more news because everybody wants to hate on Mariota. Arthur Smith just kind of got a dud of a job for his first head coaching job. And these are the two teams. Saints come in to face the Falcons in week 1, where they've won 5 of the last 6 in Atlanta. And the Niners get the Bears, who were offensively deficient, period. And I'm not even as bullish on hometown Justin Fields without trying to get injured in my hometown here. I'm more with you, Newbie, on this one. And so I think because of the efficient market pricing, you run these numbers. Last 17 times this situation has fallen where a home dog in week 1 was a decent sized favorite. We're saying 6 or more. They're 9-8 against the spread. That's pretty good number. Hard to beat. The reason the NFL is so hard to beat. 9-8. That's very even against the spread. They've only won 2 of those 17 games. So tie these together. There's a few other that fit. You're getting almost even money on the Niners just getting a win in Chicago and the Saints just getting a win in Atlanta. The Saints were able to beat Atlanta when they were solid, and Dennis Allen is a defensive genius. I just can't see how, and this is what every person that puts out a parlay says, I can't see how this could lose. Well, that is more along the lines of when you're putting 3 or 4 or 5 out there and you're trying to get a 12-1 success story so that you can just have enough money to bet the whole season. That's not what I'm doing. I'm doing value. We want value. I know it's only even money for a parlay, and some people will see that as a detriment. I think that's a plus. I think adding more teams in here, making it plus 350, making it plus 650, trying to get all the legs to work. There's a reason you see one of these a season and then on Monday night it loses. That's not what we're doing. I'm just trying to find value. I think both teams against the spread probably should cover this, and they are lower numbers than they could probably be against these really low on the totem pole teams in the Bears and Falcons. But we just need them to win for just about minus 105. Unbelievable.
So if you're going to make a case for a 2-teamer, I guess that's the way to do it. The 49ers and Saints winning outright as favorites, says our guy, Dr. Chuck. Well, that just about does it for us here, Chuck. Remind people what you have up, how they can ride with you, because I know you're part of that $5 triple play. So what do you have loaded tonight and moving forward as we head on into football season?
Yeah, so Jeff Michaels and Mark Lawrence are out there. We're crushing it today. Get all 3 of our plays, $5. I got my first 5% college football play this weekend. unbelievably underpriced is how I have it, which is why it ranked as a 5. Again, we were number 1 in college football last year, 2-0 to start this season. We were 2-0 with our futures last year. Also have 2 futures up, one of which I talked about Sports Memo Today before. But on top of that, it's the U.S. Open, and I know not everybody loves tennis like I love tennis, and not everybody thinks that it's the low-hanging fruit that I've been trying to convince everybody is. It's if NFL is the most efficiently marketed, priced sport, tennis is the opposite. We put out a 6-pack of morning plays. It went 5-1. We have another one for this evening. Yesterday was a bloodbath at the U.S. Open in Queens. We still survived it with a little bit of plus money, and we're looking really good today. And the field narrows, and we hopefully get better. Plus NFL, college football, and baseball. We already have our baseball plays up, and the MLB show starts here in a few minutes.
There you go. A big thanks to Dr. Chuck hopping in and joining us. Always a pleasure, brother. And as he mentioned there, a major discount, something that would normally cost you $95, 2 5%ers and a big ticket play for Mark Lawrence, just $5 over at Sports Memo. That's what we do. Every Tuesday, you get a triple play, $5, or you can grab their plays individually. But why not save the buck and save the $90 and grab all 3 of them? That's going to do it for us. If you enjoyed the show, just hop in the comments. Let us know if you agree. If you disagree, make sure you hit that like button and that subscribe button, and head on over to sportsmemo.com and ride with our experts. For Eric Pauly, for Dr. Chuck, I'm Dan Alexander, and we'll see you Thursday on Sports Memo Today.